Okay, today's date is June 16th, 2020, and it is a talking session with Zeke Matevosian. Okay. All right, so I'll just start at the beginning, that the information that the higher selves gave me, that we're not going to be able to erase demand for sexual services, or prostitution is what we call it now, which is a very denigrated term. People see it as sinners. People go to jail for it. You know, it's against the law. But in fact, the higher selves are indicating if sex is consensual by adults, if it is consensual, then there isn't anything wrong with it. Now, if you can elevate this prostitution as a sexual service, a professional sexual service, you have the supply for the demand. You also would want to not only want to bring it up as a profession. How's it different than somebody who does your hair or does your plumbing? It's just addressing something else, and it's addressing the sexual nature, which is not inherently evil. It's not inherently sinful to have a sexual nature, which is what you were saying. So the point is, they said that the way to go, and it wouldn't happen overnight, and I don't know when it would happen, but at some point, to elevate it to a legitimate profession, have unions, have retirement plans, have health benefits, have all the things that a regular profession would have, and have it have respect and understanding. Acceptance. You know, right now we're trying to accept different races. Maybe this is going to be the next wave. I mean, it was sexual orientation and, you know, sexual transgendering and all of that, and LGBTQ and all of that. Now maybe this will be following now the racial and the skin discrimination. But in any case, I don't know when it's going to come, but they said that would be the orientation. Now this means, if it becomes a profession, this means that women can choose to go into the profession. They won't be denigrated. They'll make good money. They'll be protected. They'll have, you know, insurance. They'll have legitimacy. They won't be afraid to go to jail. This would reduce the need for sex trafficking. Sex trafficking still fulfills a need. Now, sex trafficking, there is no choice. These women are captured or conned. It's no difference than, you know, slave trafficking, where they capture women to become indentured servants for 5 years for free just so that they can get their visa or something. You know, any kind of trafficking with human beings is wrong because it's not voluntary. People are being conned or forced into it. They are, you know, part of the type of slave trade. But the more you legitimize the prostitution as a serious, legitimate, valuable service, the less there'll be a need to traffic, because there'll be more volunteer women that will come in to volunteer because they want the job. They happen to be good at sex, and why not make money? If you're protected, you've got, you know, you have plenty of, it's legitimate, and you would have respect. People go, whoa, you know, good for you. You know, that kind of thing. If you change the attitude and the perception of this prostitution, it's a human need, sex. And unfortunately, you know, we're still couched that it's a bad thing. But the higher selves have, from the beginning, back in the 80s, assured us that if sex is consensual between adults, it doesn't matter. It's not, there's nothing sinful, there's nothing wrong with it if it's consensual. And if you have somebody who says, okay, I want to pay you for sex, that's consensual. Unless it's a sex trafficked person, which of course we want that to stop. So that's basically what they were saying. So you are not, for me, being part of the problem with the cuddler or the massage. You're not being part of the problem unless the woman who's doing it is somebody who's there against her will. But if she's there because she's making money and she's chosen this, even though it is, you know, got a low perception from much of the community, it doesn't have a low perception for me. But I don't feel like you're the demand. You know, even now the police don't arrest the Johns. They only arrest the prostitutes or the pimps. They don't arrest the Johns because everybody knows it's a need. So that's just what I wanted to say to you about that I don't want you to put on your head about that. I think the orientation could be the refocusing on standing up for the legitimacy and validity and importance of this profession. They're just as important as doctors, nurses, and Indian chiefs. It's a way to change. And I've studied anthropology, and in some cultures that I've studied, there is nothing wrong with sex. It is not considered a sinner because they didn't exist with the orientation that we have that pervades the planet with Christianity and other religions that see it as denigrating. The highest thing you can do is be a priest and not have any sex at all, and we know how that goes, right? So anyway, that's really just what I wanted to say about that.
Okay, so now I want to get on the recording. So this is what happened. That 2 years ago, I took that online cuddling course, and I have it right now. I would share it with anyone. I can share it with you. Like I send it to people and send them the sign in and the passcode. And it really, that's what this whole thing happened. And also the cough started 2 years ago when this started happening. I remember I was having that cuddling session with Hannah, and I noticed that's when the cough started 2 years ago. I think it's all connected. And
I'm sure it is. I know that we have found other things about that cough, and I don't recall, but that cough came up in more than one session. So I don't recall anymore, but I'm sure there could be, very clearly there could be a tie, and we can just keep working on it when we get a chance.
Yeah, but I want to get across this really important point. One, that the matter that you actualize when you fulfill your sexual desires that you've had, you have them fulfilled consensually and properly, and there's all these precautions that the course goes through about asking consent, asking for permission, and then when you do have it done, it transforms you. Fulfilling your sexual desires, fulfilling your sexuality transforms you. And then the thing that therapy...
Okay, now wait, I just want to stop you right there. Fulfilling you. Now you're taking it to a level that not everyone who needs the services take it to. A lot of people use those services simply because they're horny. They haven't had sex and whatever. It doesn't fulfill any bigger purpose, except for they have the natural sexual desires that they are getting satisfied. So, I want to just be clear that it's not a general rule that people, and for you, it seems to fulfill you at some higher level. But that's not always the case, nor should it always be the case, because everybody is individual and everyone does their own thing, feels...
Okay, we can go on to that. I just want to cover a few things I want to cover. That I've been frustrated in the past, that I've had therapy, and the fact that I've not been, but with this, what's going on? I'm hearing voices. What is that?
It's not me.
Oh, that I've had therapy and I've had desire but the specific therapist I had for a year and a half, and I stopped going because I could not tolerate that I had such intimate connection with her. I had such strong affectionate feelings for her that I was not allowed to touch her. It just could not happen. It was unspeakable. So that's why I started seeking cuddling. And through cuddling, I was sharing my deepest thoughts, my deepest secrets. I was having them fulfilled. fulfilled. I was having them fulfilled. And the transformative power of opening your heart and have light reach the depth of your heart with things that you would otherwise have to keep secret and keep in the dark. You have light, you open yourself up to the light, and the healing power of touch is just so phenomenal. And the notion that in therapy it is forbidden is just fundamentally so flawed.
Okay, now Zeke, here you go, judging the therapist, just like you judge your psychology professor, that what she's doing is wrong. And if you understand the full scope of therapy, it's tremendously intimate, and they're not denigrating sex. They're just, it's another platform. If you had if you were working and this, I'm just making up a stupid example, and the coach there, your coach at that school, instead of having a problem with her, you started being sexually attracted with her, and she said no.
I understand.
The environment is not appropriate to sneak off into the lockers and have sex. I realize that. Yeah,
I know.
Just be careful how you.
I just want to get this few points across. Providing verbal therapy and then withholding touch, I think, is not right. That's just one. I just want to get that statement clear.
I understand that is your belief system, and I totally understand it, but I don't agree with it.
That's fine. And then the one statement I want to make, that having legitimate therapy that does allow consensual and controlled and careful touch will then prevent a whole bunch of crimes, sexual crimes, that people commit because they don't have that. That for some reason they have trauma in their childhood, they've had sexual abuse, and they go out because they can't share that, they can't express that in a healthy way. They go out and find victims and rape people and do damage to other people, and then it perpetuates.
Well, I agree that sometimes it would be helpful. There are professional sexual therapists. Did you know that?
Yeah. Even then, Janet, I went to my therapist, and I was told I wasn't allowed. She was offended that I shared stuff with her that was sexual. And she says, you can come back only if you don't talk anything sexual. And how weird is that? Imagine you go to a drug addiction place and they say, don't talk about drugs. What is that? I understand she has a boundary. Come on.
No, okay, Zeke, I agree that if she's a therapist, she should be able to hear your sexual things. The thing is, you were personalizing it to her, and she was putting up a wall. But there are other types of sexual therapists that actually get in bed with you and have sex with you. And they're professional therapists.
Yeah.
She was not a sexual therapist, and I don't know what they're called, but I've just heard that they do exist.
I know. There's varieties of things out there. There's varieties of it.
Yes, but there has
to be some shift, so it's no longer like something obscure and
exactly, yes.
It comes out in the open. It's more prevalent, more available to more people. Safer and
absolutely.
Yeah.
But here's the thing too. Your particular issue was all that sexual repression in past lives and in this life. So your issue for therapy, in many ways, the biggest issue is this sexual issue. So that's your focus. But people go to therapy for many other reasons. It has nothing to do with sex or touch or anything. So be careful when you talk about it as if your issue is the issue for everyone. What is important is that those like you have a way to find someone who, the profession is raised and respected. And there's nothing, and it's not hidden. Just like you were saying, it's not hidden. You can find out legitimate sexual therapist if that's your issue. I mean, think of the men who have ED. Think of the men who have intimacy problems. They're repressing themselves. They're afraid. Whatever it is, there are all sorts of things. There needs to be people who out there to help those specific things. And I would be willing to bet you could find somebody, because if I've heard of it, it does exist, where they have an orientation and a specialty in sexual therapy.
Yeah.
So, and they're real psychologists. They wouldn't be like the one you went to that would cut you off there. They wouldn't.
Yeah, and just I didn't make any reference to her at all. I just played a video that I had made about an incident that had happened.
Okay.
And then I had no imposition towards her whatsoever. That she said that.
Okay. And
just for the record, I wouldn't do that. I don't do that.
Right. No,
that's
I know.
Not what I
Zeke,
do.
No, you wouldn't do that. So.
Yeah. So okay, that's it. That's just what I got. That is so precious. What I got here. That's a life-changing event right there, and I realized why it happened. It happened that I watched those 3 movies yesterday and talked to the lady, and this is it. This is very important. This is crucial. I can't wait to get that recording.
Okay,
and,
I want to be.
People I know would really appreciate it.
Well, I will be happy to get you the recording. I do want you just to be clear. There's a difference between sex trafficking and sex for money.
Sure.
And I know you understand that, but be careful when you speak that you don't kind of put it all in one little pile.
Absolutely, sure.
Yeah. Just because, we can do that sometimes. We can just generalize and sort of include a lot of stuff in a big general thing. And it's important to be,
So your one is coerced, generally, and the other one is, I've heard women say that even if they won the lottery and had $1 billion, they would still do it because they enjoy the love, passion, the work they enjoy doing.
Well, just think about people who have a hard time finding jobs. Maybe they haven't had very much schooling. Maybe they come from
No, I don't know. I don't appreciate, because I have sessions with women who do better than PhDs in psychiatry. They do so much better. They are educated. They do I see them beyond psychologists. It's like priests, like some spiritual, the spiritual goddess. They do such healing work that involves that is involved with the sexuality.
I understand. Zeke, I totally understand. It doesn't mean that they have to be uneducated in order to want to do that job. The point is to make the job as legitimate as respected, dealing a legitimate service to the community that has been in demand since man began, okay? I'm not saying that all ranges of education can certainly take part, but I'm just saying that the more you legitimize it, the more it even reaches out to people who don't have any other societal advantages, like great education or money or something. We want it to be able to reach into every level of society and culture and say, this is a legitimate thing. And it doesn't necessarily mean, part of the higher education thing is that it costs a lot of money to go to school. It costs money. To go to college or get degrees and this, that, and the other. But the jobs that can be done doesn't mean that you wouldn't educate yourself in some ways. There would be cuddler classes, just like you took. There'd be ways to become the better or best at this profession.
Absolutely,
yeah. So, but they won't be 4 years of college with a $200,000 debt.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. I'm just saying it's something that if legitimized could just do a huge service to both those in it and those who want to use and the demand, the supply and the demand. It just would be great. And that's what the higher selves were saying to me. And I don't know when this legitimizing thing will happen, but maybe, as I said, it'll be the next big protest. Hey, we're sex workers, but we're supplying, we're helping with all the demand out there. Take this stigmatism, this prejudice, take it away. We are not sinning. We are giving permission. It is co-created, the permission. We're not hurting or harming anyone. Take it away. But I don't know when that will happen, but maybe at some point some sex workers will be, slain by some big group of who think they're sinners or something. I don't know. You know what I mean? And then maybe the sex workers will band together and start to protest, and everybody else can join the wagon. I don't know when or how it will happen, but maybe it'll be the next thing. Let's keep our fingers crossed.
Yeah. I just want to make the statement. I declare myself the spokesman, the pioneer, the leader of this movement. I volunteer. This is my life's mission, and I just realized it, and this is what I'm going to do. Maybe this is a sanctuary. Maybe this is what it is. I just realized it.
Well,
this is my cause.
I think that if you do this, Zeke, it is going to help so many, even more than having a ton of money and you have places for these women to stay. If we get the profession up, they won't need these places to stay.
Yeah.
You see what I mean?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
And you can reach more than just the local women, because you're not going to be able to reach globally. But if you are part of a movement that brings legitimacy to this profession, it's big. It's global.
It is.
Global help, legitimizing it. And I think it's important. I think it's really important. But again, we don't know how it's going to unfold. But as long as you've got consciousness now, it'll be baby steps in the beginning, and then it'll start to expand. Something will happen. It'll be, something happens in Atlanta, and I bet you Zeke Matevosian is going to be there as part of the protests. You see what I mean? You're going to be flying out too. So, anyway, kiddo, that was the first cough you had the whole call.
No, well, I was muting it when I was coughing.
Oh, okay, never mind. All right, kiddo. Well,
all right, great.
Thanks.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Bye.
Bye. Bye.